Wrestling. Welcome in Mark Trible, wrestling reporter for the Courier-Post. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning, Sully.
What's happening, man?
I am at the 2016 Ronald Bond Invitational here at Haddonfield, a little wrestling in the morning.
Nice.
Kicking off the season right.
Matt's side on Saturday morning.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it.
You got your blood bucket handy? Yeah, you gotta love a sport that has blood time.
Yeah, anytime I need to be up before you would usually call me, that I always have the blood bucket ready for that.
What's your favorite fan chant from the stands?
Well, I like the classic. I just love when people yell "to" at the ref, and it's not "to." That's got to be the best.
I like heavy on the head.
Heavy on the head.
That's my favorite.
And there's always
that or hand control.
Random shouts. Yeah, hand control. Break his wrist.
Heavy on the head and hand control. You'll hear that all day long.
Absolutely.
So what's your impression of South Jersey wrestling? Did you cover wrestling last year?
Yeah, I did.
So you've gotten your feet wet then.
Yeah, a little bit. I really got them wet today because it was sleeting when I left the house.
You didn't have on your LL Bean boots?
No, I didn't. I enjoyed it so much last year, and I was really looking forward to this year. It seems like football just ended yesterday, and here we are. But I'm excited. I think we're going to have some great wrestlers again this year. We had, a couple state champs last year. I think we've got a shot at one or two again this year, or maybe three. But I'm excited, man. It's just good to be back out here and see people as you saw last year on the mats, and just to be in a warm gymnasium after all those cold nights at the end of football season.
How often do you get fired up dads coming up to you trying to get you to write about their boy?
Well, that happens every day of my life anyway. Wrestling season or not, I get fired up parents. If they don't come up to me, they find a way to stack themselves in my email inbox. They're everywhere. Yeah, everybody wants their kid to be in the paper, and rightfully so. Yeah, a lot of these kids, they dedicate their lives to their sports, and I know the parents have shelled out a lot of money to get them this far. So,
wrestling fans are a different breed, man. They're into it. They know the names of all the kids. They'll know a name of a guy up in North Jersey who's in their son's weight class.
Yeah, that really is the beauty of covering it. I think from a reporter's standpoint, that so many people don't realize that with many sports, people will read about their team and occasionally about rivals or teams in the conference, and you will have some diehards. But wrestling fans read everything about wrestling. So, from our perspective, it's great. The more eyes, the better. And everybody tries to digest what's going on. They want to see who's ranked at the weight classes. Like you were talking about, you were there in the initial mat pack. And with Tom McGurk, my boss, I mean, he really emphasizes, getting as much information out there for people, and they just eat it up.
I'll tell you what, when I was back at the Daily Journal from 2007 to 2009, we kind of came up with that idea, myself, Tom McGurk, Pat Pagansky, and it took off almost immediately. I mean, these people were starving for wrestling coverage. We dedicated a whole page every Saturday to wrestling coverage, and, man, they ate it up. I mean, it was probably one of our most popular features there at the Daily Journal.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing that we do. I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. And, when you go out and everybody knows you're from the Mat Pack, or everybody's asking if you got T-shirts,
yeah.
or they're reading the Mat Pack in the stands. It's very fulfilling to see the connection that the Mat Pack's made with the wrestling fans. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really it's a perfect thing because I guess it comes out on Saturdays, right?
I don't know what day ours comes out this year, to be honest with you.
Well, it used to come out on Saturdays, and that was great because Saturdays are just all day wrestling. You have all these quads and everything, tournaments, and like you said, you see the papers all over the stands. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to say it will be Saturday, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So don't quote me on that one.
How much flack do you get for the rankings? That must fill up your inbox, right?
This is another one. I get flack for everything. I'd say the first half of the year, there's a lot up to debate, but with all these quads and all these different matches through the year, by the time we get to the end of the season, everybody can pretty much understand why people are positioned the way they are. If they haven't wrestled each other, then they might have a common opponent. Wrestling fans are very smart. I mean, they know. They're not gonna petition you just for the sake of it's their kid or it's their team.
Right.
I think, as opposed to other sports, I think there's a respect in wrestling for the grind of it and for great wrestling that people, generally will take more of a wait and see approach, and they really won't dig into you too bad about ranking.
That's a great point, because a lot of these wrestlers, they wrestle all year round, and they kind of face the best competition in all these off-season tournaments, so they know where they stack up against a lot of the guys in their weight class.
Sure, and we try to see as many different teams as possible. I know you say that, a lot of times, but for wrestling, it really is true, because, like today, I'll see 4 or 5 teams, and, Josh Friedman will see teams, Tom will see teams, and then we'll all sit down and say, hey, look, I saw this kid. He was really impressive. I think he should be higher on the list, and we'll go back through. I mean, it's done by committee. This is it's not a 5-minute process. It reminds me a lot of the countless hours I spent with Kevin Minnick deciding who would be all South Jersey football.
Yeah, people don't realize the work you have to put in to put together these all-star teams, especially for football, when you have the West Jersey Football League, and now there's 95 teams in it. What was that process like, trying to figure out your all-stars for South Jersey football? I mean, there was a ton of good players this year.
Yeah, you watch kids during the year and you think, wow, this kid will be first team. And then when you go and evaluate it, sometimes they fall to third team because of the stats and what they did in the playoffs. And there's so many different circumstances that go into it. But we did take our time doing it. I think Kevin said, give me a call when you get a chance to go over some of the stuff. I'm thinking, we'll talk 30 minutes, an hour. I was in the office. I was on the phone for 3 hours with him. And then the next day I saw him and we went over it for another 2 or 3 hours. We went down to every last, down to the third team punter. Debating every position.
Wow.
And, it took a lot of time. And, but it's well worth it to make sure the right kids get recognized.
Talking with Mark Trible, the Courier-Post, wrestling reporter. Mark, what are you looking forward to here in the next week or so? I know there's a lot of holiday tournaments going on. The Robin Leff is a big one. Southern got off to a great start last night. What's really on your radar here for the next 2 weeks or so?
Well, not to be glib, but the number one thing on my radar is I got a lot of vacation days coming up, and I got Christmas shopping I got to do. I got to get home for Christmas, so that's number one. But when it comes to wrestling, I think I'm interested to see Rancocas Valley and Holy Cross on Monday. Avery Donardi's back for Holy Cross. I thought he did a great job last year. Making states and was very good. And then RV's got some good kids. The Boker kid missed out on states last year barely, but him and Ethan Kraft, I think RV's going to be a pretty good team this year. And it'd be nice to be up in Burlington County and see one of those Burl Co rivalries. And
now you got Andrew Solomon transferred to Gateway. So they got some real good wrestlers up there. He was a standout wrestler for Cedar Creek the last couple of years, so they should have a pretty good squad as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Gateway right now I think is number 6 in our preseason mean 15, and I like a lot. Gateway from 106 to 152 is going to be very tough, and when you look around the Colonial Conference, it's going to be similar situations. Collingswood's going to be tough. They were number 5. Haddonfield, where I am today, they were number 7, I think. And then West Deptford's always in the mix. So outside of, Paulsboro obviously is number 2 for us. They're going to be right there neck and neck with Delsey all year, I think. But after them, those teams, from the lower to middle weights are just so strong. And Gateway's one of those teams. If you can line up Solomon they really love what Timmy Sparks has done. Also, by the way, he's a kid who worked real hard last year to come a long way, and in the off season, he turned himself into a captain of the team. I mean, he's been a true leader. So you got the Menino twins down low, the lowest of the low. They're kind of little guys. Then when you look at Timmy Sparks, Solomon, and Reggie Davis, if you can line those three up, that's pretty special for them. So they should have some flexibility there.
Are you cutting some weight here?
Am I cutting weight? I'm always cutting weight. I'm one of those guys that if I were a wrestler, I'd be very fortunate because I can pretty much eat whatever I want. I'm going to hover around the same poundage. I was blessed with a fine metabolism, but no, I'm not cutting. I might try to get a couple extra pounds on me actually to survive this winter the way it's starting out already.
Hey, go home for some mom's cooking there over Christmas break.
Yeah.
That'll fatten you up good.
Yeah, I'll come back with a couple extra pounds.
Now, what's the big day? Christmas Eve in your family or Christmas Day? How's it work out?
Actually, the day after Christmas. We turned this into the day. We're the day after family now. We did the day after Thanksgiving. Now the day after Christmas. Like I was telling you last month, my brothers and my brother and sisters are all older. They have kids. They obviously do Christmas with their kids, and then we'll all get together at my mom's house the next day. So, the kids are a little bit tired out from playing with all their toys on Christmas, so it makes it a little bit easier. They're a little bit easier to handle.
Good stuff, Mark. We're up against the break. As always, appreciate you coming on board, and we'll be talking some wrestling throughout the winter.
Oh, I sure hope so, Sully.
No problem. We'll dive into it big time here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're the man. And guess what? There's a Matt Pack T-shirt with your name on it. Once I get my Glory Days beanie, pal.
Nice. We'll trade it straight up.
All right, man.
Sounds good, Mark. Thanks, buddy.
Talk to you. Bye.
That was Mark Trible of the Courier-Post.